Hi, everyone. It's Colleen Meyer. Welcome to It's a Brand New Take with Michelle Pettis. This week, we're going to be looking at the last two Monday dilemmas. We're going to ask the questions. We're going to let Michelle know what you said, what your suggestions were, and then we're going to find out what she did in her Monday dilemma. Michelle?
Yay! Yes. I'm so excited to be back. I'm so excited to be back. I was off a little vacation in Arizona at Canyon Ranch. So here's a shameless plug for a 5-day getaway that was just absolutely fabulous. So if you're looking for some place to get your mind, your body, and your spirit all in alignment, then I would highly recommend Canyon Ranch, because quite frankly, that weekend getaway is consistent with what we talk about here every Sunday or most Sundays on A Brand New Take. And that is how to get our mind, our body, and our feelings and our beliefs around food, hunger, and eating in alignment. And the way we do that is by getting in touch with our food stories. And for anybody that might not have seen A Brand New Take before, and for anybody that didn't know who I am and why I'm here, like it says, I'm Michelle Pettis, and I am the author of the soon-to-be-released memoir, my soon-to-be-released memoir, Leaving Large, a Food Addict's Memoir, How I Won a 40-Year Battle Over Obesity. Looking at me now, you might not even realize it, but I used to be obese. I used to be morbidly obese. Over my lifetime, I have gained and lost 700 pounds. And I finally figured out how to keep it off. I had to do all the stuff I did before. I had to change my diet. I had to exercise, but the difference this time around and all the things that I did for the past 40 years was me unpacking my food stories. You may ask, what is a food story? So I'm going to do a quick little overview of a food story, and then we're going to jump right into the Monday dilemma, because our food stories more than anything guide how we manage food. So if you have cravings, if you're overeating, if you're a food addict like I was, you got some food stories that you're battling with that you might not even, you don't even realize that are going on. So food story, what is that, right? So technically, a food story is a memory, an experience, or an event that determines and drives how we feel about a certain food, what we believe about a certain food. And they could be as simple as, I don't eat peanuts because I'm allergic to them. That's a food story. I clean my plate every day whenever I eat because that's how I grew up. My parents always made me do that. Or you could be somebody like my uncle. And the story that I'm about to tell you about my uncle, I call it the watermelon story. And it is the very first story in my book, Leaving Large, a Food Addict's Memoir, How I Won a 40-Year Battle Over Obesity, which you can download right now. You can download a free chapter at leavinglarge.com. And when you download this free chapter, that gives me your information so that when the book comes out, and it's going to be coming out soon on ebook, I can make sure that you have access to it. So here's the story. The story is this. Years ago, while I was on my journey, before I even knew that I was ever going to write a book, right? I was visiting my uncle in my hometown, a small country town in Texas, Marshall, Texas. And we were having a picnic, barbecue. And we had watermelon, right? And it was a hot summer day, all that. And I asked my uncle if he wanted some. And he said, I don't eat watermelon. Now, notice he said, I don't eat watermelon. He didn't say, I don't like watermelon. He didn't say, I don't want watermelon. He said, I don't eat it. I'm like, well, why don't you eat it? What, do you not like it? Do you not want it right now? Do you want some later? He's like, I don't eat it. I'm like, well, why? You can't tell me I don't do something and not an explanation. Well, he could, but I was trying to get an explanation. And so he finally told me that when he was a kid, like 5, 6, 7, now understand my uncle's almost 80 now. He tells me this story, that when he was a kid, he and some buddies stole a watermelon. And when my grandfather, his father, found out about it, and let me give you a little backstory here. My grandfather was a church trustee. My grandfather was a railroad laborer. So those two in combination, when he found out that his son stole a watermelon, he gave my uncle a beating that he never forgot. He beat him within an inch of his life, really. As a result, my uncle didn't eat watermelon. So I said to my uncle, well, Billy, do you think maybe that the lesson was supposed to be thou shalt not steal? That's what he's trying to convey. And my uncle looked at me and he said, I don't eat watermelon. So I had to leave it at that. But what that story made clear to me as I thought about it decades later was that the association that my uncle made around that food, the memory of that food, the experience around that food, the event of that whipping was so painful, so traumatic to him that he never in 70 years ate that food again. That's a food story. We all have them. They might not all be that dramatic, but we all have them, and they leave an imprint. They leave an imprint on how we manage food. And you flip that, and you go from if you could have an experience around a food that is so painful that you never eat it, could the opposite be true? That you have experience around a food that is so pleasurable, so warm, so good, so comforting, so all of that, that every time you see it, you must have it. And that's where cravings come from. What happens is we can't separate the food from the feeling. And that's why it's so important to understand your food story. And that's why we unpack these dilemmas every Sunday, because the way you handle the dilemma is all based on your belief or feeling about the food or that circumstance. You have a food story around it, and we all have it. I'll now give you a quick example. Just take rice. If you put rice, I mean, I was just thinking about this. I was just thinking about this. You put a bowl of rice in front of 10 people, right? And if anybody is watching this and you want to challenge me on it, please jump in the chat. Carlina will put the StreamYard link in there, and you can jump on the screen with me, and we can talk about rice, right? You put a bowl of rice on the table in front of 5 people, in front of 10 people. Everybody's going to have a different way that they eat rice. Some people eat rice with sugar, right?
Right. They do.
And some people eat rice with gravy. That's rice and gravy. That's the way they eat it. They eat it with cheese, right? So that's how some people eat rice with milk, right?
Right.
So
with butter.
Or with butter. So everybody's got a different way that they view rice, because they all have a food story that's associated with how you consume rice. For some, it's cereal. I mean, it's a grain, but they only eat it for breakfast. The others, they only eat it for dinner. They might eat it for breakfast and dinner, right? So that one thing tells you the way we approach food, our beliefs, our feelings about food are all different, but we all have a story. We all have a story around certain foods, and especially those foods that are really good to us, and that we keep going back for more and more. There's a story that impacts some sort of pleasure center, right? That if it's a kryptonite food, because I got a bunch of it myself, we have to unpack it and understand that it is not about the food. It is about the story behind the food. Everybody repeat after me. It's not about the food. It's about the story behind the food. And if we unpack the story, what the food story does is it gives us an opportunity, a way, a technique to step away from the habit. And when we can step away from the habit, then we can evaluate why we're eating certain things. And once we know the why, once we understand it, then we can address it. Because my problem My problem, and I'm assuming that if you're a food addict like I was, if you were a yo-yo dieter like I was, if you were a sugar addict like I was, if you had any of those issues, you had diet fatigue, if you dealt with any of that, right, it's because you were eating too much of the wrong thing for the wrong reasons, and you were doing it unconsciously. I say because that's what I did. And as soon as we get a handle on raising our consciousness about why we're eating, right? Why we're eating what we're eating, just be aware. Just be aware that we're eating for some other reason other than hunger. Just get some awareness around that, and then start unpacking the reason. Once we do that, it'll be easier to focus on the things that are on the plate. So if we do all the work that we need to do on the outside of the plate, the thing that got us here thinking, oh man, I don't know, I could never, in the past, I could really never go to Red Lobster without eating 10 of those cheddar biscuits.
My grandson's favorite. He loves it.
I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So get a, and now I go all when I see a biscuit, right? That took me back to my grandma's kitchen with the rolling pin, and Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings getting the flour, all the love and sweetness and yumminess that was in her kitchen. We just transferred it right over the Red Lobster, right? And you pile that on top of friends and hanging out and a few drinks, and the next thing you know, 10 of those biscuits. So that's the food story piece. So enough of the preamble, enough of the preamble, because we have a few things to unpack tonight because I was on vacation. So Colleen, come on now with that first dilemma.
Okay, so the first Monday dilemma was from 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, Monday.
Oh, I know which one this is. This is the one where you had option A and option B.
Yes.
Would you rather go someplace where the food is great and the people are boring, or would you rather go where the food is questionable, right? Where the food is questionable and the people are great. So let's see what did folks say? We had
Yvonne. She said B. The people will make the food taste better, or the drinks will. I think she's got a point there.
Right.
And then Tony Williams.
Hey, Tony. Yeah, thanks, Tony.
He said B, because I might not eat anything, but I will have fun, which is the point of the barbecue.
Absolutely. So, five stars for nailing that. But in as much as, like, when the question is put like that, you think, of course, I want to go for the people. But I cannot tell you how many times I have had conversations, right? Or I've heard people talking, oh yeah, I went to that party, but the food was horrible. Right? Oh, or they didn't have much food. Or you hear or you say, oh, I went to such and such party, and they, oh, well, what kind of food did they have? Right? That question comes up. And so I just wanted to kind of like put that out there, because the reality is it is about connecting with people over good times. And sometimes, and I say sometimes, and I say this because I did it myself, and I just extrapolate that all, that if I did it, there are other people doing it too, that sometimes you lose sight of why we get together, right? We lose sight of the fact that it is for us to commune with one another, to fellowship with one another, and the food is just the food is not the centerpiece. The food is just the backdrop. The food is the backdrop. We need to concentrate. We need to concentrate on our relationship with the people that are around us, whether it's a barbecue, whether it's an event, whether it's a family, whether it's a family gathering, whatever the case may be. And then that allows us to put the emphasis on where it happens to be, where it needs to be, rather. So if you're around great friends and great food, then that's a home run. But more importantly, it's just good to be around great people.
It is. Makes it fun.
Yeah.
Do you want to look at the other one? The other?
Oh, yes, 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 yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So this was last week's. Um, it was the first day of the wonderful retreat conference vacation getaway you went to. And this is a much needed break from everything, a reset before that's you, jump into what is going to be a whirlwind fall. Here's what happened. I got to the hotel very late and overslept. I finally woke up and went downstairs, and the attendant advised me that complimentary breakfast was no longer available. I was so hungry. While I was deciding my next course of action, the attendant came back and says he can bring me a muffin. Would you do what would you do in this situation asking for a friend?
All right. So that was the scenario. Did we have anybody respond to that?
Oh, nobody wanted to respond. I think because people would have took the muffin. I think they would have said, "I'm not going to put it on there," but I think I would have took the muffin. Um, I'm hungry. I think I would have took the muffin and probably ate half of it. Um,
Mhm,
that's what I do. If I'm eating something that's kind of not good for me,
mhm,
health wise or
mhm,
whatever,
mhm.
or weight wise, or I usually eat half. So
Right,
I think
right.
everybody was like
All right.
afraid to answer that.
So, so here's what actually happened. Um, I asked him when he said, "Would you like for me to bring you a muffin?" I asked him if he had any fruit that he could bring me, and he came back. He came back with two apples and two bananas.
Hmm, look at him.
Yeah, yeah. And so here's what I got out of that. Because when he came back and said, um, the breakfast is shut down. I can bring you a muffin. And I really contemplated, what I wanted to do. And here's the thing: that hotel was out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it wasn't out in the middle of nowhere. It was near the hotel, but it wasn't near any place where I could go, get something to
Right,
eat really quickly.
right.
And so when he came back, and said, I had the muffin, I just decided, well, I'm just going to be hungry. I'll be hungry until I get to the airport or until I get to Canyon Ranch, and then I'll just suck it up because I'm not gonna eat that muffin. And when he came back with the two apples and the two bananas, what struck me, right? What struck me was this: is that I got the apple and the banana because I asked for it,
Yep, I agree with that.
and our power is when we ask for what we want.
Hmm.
And when he came back with that option, if I had just assumed that that was the only option, right? And I had
Right.
just let my hunger take over, or if I was not committed, right, to who I was and
Hmm.
my own body and my own choice, I might have taken it. But as soon as we step up, as soon as we say, as soon as we grab the thing that we want and make the choice, the universe will support us. And even more to me, bigger than the muffin and the apple and the banana was the fact that I asked. And for
Hmm.
anybody that is watching, I say to you, ask for what you want. We don't just have to accept anything that's given to us. We don't
Hmm.
have we don't have to say that that's all they have. If you go to a restaurant, right, you're on a plan, right, and you want something prepared differently, ask. Here's this: they want to accommodate you.
Yeah.
Assume that the restaurant wants to accommodate you because they want to make you happy. They want you to come back.
Hmm.
Assume that. Assume that it is not a problem. Assume that it is not an issue. Just ask. We don't have to accept everything that is thrown our way. We don't.
Mm-mm.
I'm sorry, Colleen. You look like you were about to say
No,
something.
no, no, no. No, I'm thinking about because I'm playing it in my head because I would have took the muffin and ate half without thinking about not asking. But what you're saying is Michelle, is that you were true to self. You were true to self,
Yes.
and I don't think people would have assumed that he could have had fruit,
Right.
and we just automatically think, oh, they're just going to give us a muffin or whatever have you. But you were true to self, saying, if I have to eat a muffin, I don't want it because that's
Mhm.
not true to what that's not true to my journey.
Right, right. And that is absolute. That is absolutely true. Is this true to my journey? Is this
Mm-hmm.
true to my journey? And not only that, does this will this muffin serve my body in the way that I want it to be served? And I gotta tell you, I didn't get to that place of saying, oh, I don't want that muffin, or is there something else that I can? I didn't get there overnight, but what did get me there, what did help me along the way, and if you've heard this story before, you're likely going to hear it again, because it was so pivotal for me when I first started on this journey. Not on this last leg of the journey, and I was really looking for transformation, and I was really looking to be different. I planned a vacation, and I lost about 40 pounds, and I had a vacation coming up, a cruise coming up. I was going to Hawaii on this fabulous cruise. I'd never been to Hawaii. I'd never been on a cruise. And I was having lunch with my brother. And my brother was like, "Oh man, yeah, Michelle, you're doing great. You're looking good. But you got this cruise coming up. I know you've never been on one, but I just want to tell you now, food is everywhere on the cruise.
That's right,
So
it is.
when you go on a cruise, you just gain weight. That's how it is. So don't beat yourself up. Don't be mad at yourself. Just go and have a good time and know that you are going to gain weight." This was what he said to me, and I know that he was speaking from his heart, of not wanting me to feel guilty, or you
Right.
know and wanting me to enjoy my experience in Hawaii and on the cruise, and just
Yes.
not be overwhelmed by all these food choices. And so I listened to that, and I thought about it, and when I got home I said, not happening. I made a decision because I had worked too hard. I had worked too hard, and I had spent too much money. And I had been down this road too many times, and I was too happy with the progress that I had made. And
Mm-hmm.
I could see the end. I wasn't on the cruise just yet, right? I had a few more months to go. I had lost the weight, and I knew by the time that I got to the cruise, I would be much closer. And just the notion of giving up and giving into this idea of that's just how it is, I was not going to do it. So I decided right then and there. And it was a decision. It was a conscious decision. It was intentional, that I was not going, not only was I not going to gain weight on that cruise, I was going to lose weight.
I love
And
that.
so I went on that cruise and I lost weight. I didn't lose 5 pounds or anything like that, right? It was like a pound, half pound, something like that. But the reality is I lost weight. And the
Mm-hmm.
only difference, and now what, let me step back. And I had a great time. I had a fabulous time, one of the best vacations I have ever had. But the only difference between me and somebody else that goes on a cruise, goes to Hawaii, goes anywhere, and gains weight on vacation is the decision.
Mm-hmm.
Is
I agree
what
with that.
you decide. It is the story. It is the story that you tell yourself.
Right.
It is the story that you tell yourself. It was a story that I told myself. And here's the thing: we are all in control of our stories. Every story that we have about food, and what we believe about food and what it means, we can rewrite. We
Mm-hmm.
can rewrite it to serve us. And that's what I can help you do that, right? I can help you do it. And I'm not gonna say it's easy, because it's not. I'm not gonna say that this process is for everybody, because it's not. But I am going to say this. I am going to say, if you have tried everything else, if you're a yo-yo dieter, if you're a food addict, if you have uncontrollable cravings, if you've had surgery and the weight's coming back, if you did Atkins and the weight's
Mm-hmm.
coming back, if you did Weight Watchers and the weight's coming back, if you did Nutrisystem and the weight coming back, and you did Slim Fast and the weight's coming back, if you did keto and the weight's coming back, if you did any of that and it's coming back, it's because you need to unpack your food story and let your food story help you work that program. Because all the programs, they will all work. You just need to find one that works for you and figure out how to work it. Because what the program, what any sort of diet, and I'm not afraid of the word diet, right? Any sort of plan, any sort of anything, what it does, it creates a pathway for change. It gives you a roadmap for change. Because what you're acknowledging and what that program is saying is what you're doing right now isn't working. What I was doing for me, that's why I went to the doctor and got hormone shots. I got hormone shots and I got a low calorie plan because what I wasn't doing wasn't working. But the difference this time and why I kept the weight off this time was because I used the doctor's plan along with my food stories.
I love that.
And when I figured out that, all right, I'm taking these shots, I've got this plan, I'm full. I acknowledge, I know that I'm full, but I still want to eat. So if you are in a situation, if you notice that in your own journey, if you're going to 1,200 calorie diet, which is what I think the USDA recommends, right?
Right.
That's a healthy diet, and it's fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, lean meats. You do that, you can lose weight. Get water, get sleep. Follow that. Stick. Take out the sugar, right? Take out the fat. Take out all the starchy vegetables, starchy foods, right? Take out all the refined foods and just stick to fresh fruits, vegetables, lean meats, lots of water. You will lose weight. And we all logically know that. And most of us know that. But the thing is, we want stuff outside of that plan. When you want stuff outside of the plan that will get you to the body that you want, it's because you have a food story that's driving you.
You know, it's true, Michelle. I had even my cousin. I have a cousin that's been always had a weight problem her whole life, and then she went and had a surgery on her stomach, and she put it all right back on because they think that that's like a magic. That's going to be magic and they're going to be skinny and look good and whatever their goals are. But it's not. It's here.
Right.
That's why she put all that weight back on right here.
And we hear it all the time. We hear it all the time. That you can't exercise your way out of a bad diet, right? And that's true. But we also hear that it's 80% diet and 20% exercise. I am here to tell you that the formula is not 80-20. The formula is 100, 80, 20. Listen to me. The formula is 100, 80, 20. 100% mental. Before you can do the 80% food and the 20% exercise, you got to do the 100% mental. You got to do the mental work because I know it because for 40 years, I'd go from a size 22 or a size 26 to a 14, which was a black woman's 10. And then I go back up to a 26, all because even though my body had shrunk for a while, my mind was still a size 24. I was a 14 in body, but my mind was still a size 24. And until we make that shift, until we make that transformation, and until I fundamentally changed what food meant in my life, it was always a battle. It was always a struggle. And the same thing for you until you fundamentally change what food means to you. And
I love that.
Rewriting your food story.
That is so impactful. That is so true. And I think that's the part that's being left out of all of this. You know, the keto diets, the surgeries, the liquid diets, all these different things people are doing, but they leave out the mental part.
Right.
That makes sense.
And if you want to get to the mental part, the diets work. I'm not saying don't do the diets. I'm saying do them. But do them in conjunction with finding your food story and it'll be easier, right? You'll be able to understand it. It won't be a battle. It won't be a fight. It won't be a struggle. You won't feel like you're deprived, right? That's a
Mm,
hard thing,
that's it.
right?
That's it.
Download a free chapter, leavinglarge.com. Understand a little more about food stories. If you want to talk to me about your food story, you want to share your food story, you want me to help you unpack your food story, I am happy to do that. I would love to do that. If you want to know more about how to write your own food story, reach out to me. You can reach out to me at iambrandnewnow@gmail.com. I am brand new now at gmail.com. Hey Lisa. Hey Lisa. Um, you can reach out to me. I can help you with your food story. You can get on the right path. You can get some freedom. You can get some peace. You can get some power. You can get some confidence. You can get some joy. All of that you never knew that you were missing. Please follow me. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on IG. I am brand new now at I am brand new now. If you're watching this in the group, please, you can also watch it on YouTube, also at I Am Brand New Now. Want you to do that. And we're going to keep coming back. We're going to keep coming back every week, unpacking these dilemmas, unpacking the food stories. The book is coming out. If you want to know when the book is, if you want to know, yes, finally, if you want to be notified when it's available on the online version in the ebook, please download the free chapter. I'll have your information, and we're gonna keep moving this train forward. We're gonna keep working to raise our collective consciousness about why we eat what we eat. So I say to you, be brand new, right? And leave large. Good night.
Good night, everybody.